Post-render warp with late input sampling improves aiming under high latency conditions. In competitive gaming, also known as esports, the latency of your computer system is an important component of the player's response time. As cloud gaming solutions like GeForce Now and Stadia become more prevalent, more players interact with systems that add network latency, shown in red, to the local system latency. We present a user study on a technique that applies virtual reality-inspired late input latching and post-render warping techniques to a locally rendered video game with 80 milliseconds of added latency to approximate network conditions. Users were given an aim training task with 5 conditions, shown at the bottom, presented in a counterbalanced random order. The task was to use one of 2 different hit scan weapons to clear a target that could move behind a translucent wall with one of 3 gap sizes, within which the target could be hit. The 2 edge conditions were one with 25 milliseconds of average latency, intended to give an upper bound on player performance for current 60 Hz gaming, and a condition with 105 milliseconds of total latency from user input to render, to approximate an 80 millisecond network delay from cloud game streaming. 2 other conditions implement ground truth oracle warps from the 80 millisecond latent game state simulation to the latest player input, with one matching both rotation and translation from the latest input, and the other only matching the latest rotation by rendering a new image from the updated player input. The final condition implements a naive rotational reprojection from the 80 millisecond old rendered image, which allows a comparison between the image artifacts produced by this rendering approach. Since we didn't add guard bands to the rendered image in our test, edge artifacts appear. Our results show that the performance gap created by 80 milliseconds of added latency can be greatly reduced through late input latching and post-render warping. The improvement is so dramatic that it comes within a small margin of local gaming. While this technique worked well in our simple game, applying it to real games requires further study. Naive reprojections can introduce image artifacts. Weapon dynamics also add challenges. The effects of solutions to these problems on player performance should be studied together.